Welcome, everybody, to the Loud and Drunk podcast. This is Dan. Moses, we're talking about the drinks that we go to when we're in a jam.
Well, I've never drank before.
You, of all people, you've never had a drink?
Don't touch the stuff. I'm sober. My body is a temple.
Oh. Is it a temple of a dog, though?
Well, I don't mind stealing bread. From the mouths of decadence.
Yeah.
Justin, sir, we are bringing back the game, but this time it's booze-themed.
I love it.
Are you ready?
Oh, I am so ready, and I can't wait to not agree with everybody again.
Yeah, with the actors ones, we all kind of agreed,
Right.
but the food one really kind of set us back on that.
We got a lot of hate for that Batman one.
Oh, God. Yeah, but that was on May.
That
was my list, and yet you all got blamed for my list. I guess people think we all have the same voice, despite the fact that we are all distinctly different in terms of tone.
Oh, you guys aren't just in my head? I thought I'm still at the asylum.
I am Jacques Gusteau. Very happy to be here. We're discussing drinks?
Yes.
Oh, delightful. I love to drink.
Oh, very good. I thought we were going to have another sober person on this podcast.
No, not sober at all. I do go to the meetings.
Oh, okay.
That is a thing for me.
What do you do at the meetings?
You pick up chicks.
Well, yeah,
That's a terrible place to meet.
No, it's mostly about commiseration. I just go over the heartaches that I've had in my life, and I drink while other people speak.
Most of those girls can't handle their liquor, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Easy pickings.
It's mostly man at the meetings, just to be clear on that.
A man's just another type of woman.
I mean, that's factually true.
Okay, let's roll it on, baby.
Well, if you attend the meetings, then you must have a sponsor. And so do we. The Underground, located in historic Smithville Village, on the way to Atlantic City, is Jersey's coolest proprietor of rock and roll and punk rock apparel, horror merch, posters, accessories, and more. You can find them at theoriginalunderground.com. The Underground, it's a bad store for bad people. I'd also like to take this time to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you are on YouTube and Rumble, smash that like button. Leave us a comment, share this video with your friends, and get in on the conversation by joining us on social media at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, guys, let's kick this off with the elimination game.
I love it.
Of these 5 types of liquor, one has to be eliminated. Just like the same thing with the actors and the food, all variations of this liquor does not exist from history. You don't know it, you've never known it, you can't enjoy it, you can't remember enjoying it. I don't know how many ways I can reiterate this point.
So I remember it.
No!
But I had it before, and I still can enjoy that memory of it.
No. Again,
Yeah.
It is wiped from history. You never knew of it.
Other people didn't know of it.
Because we're getting into like a Spider-Man thing here.
Moving on.
Yes.
Moving on, because you people clearly know the rules.
I'll get it as we keep going. Just keep going, and I'm going to get it.
Blissfully ignorant of what the rules actually
Right now,
are.
I understand it. Yeah,
I am blissful.
I'll still know it, but all right, go ahead. Go ahead. I got it.
Walk to your garden of stone, Moses.
I will say
another beer.
I will say hello to heaven for you.
Oh,
Wow.
knock it off.
I mean, like all obscure references.
Knock it off.
Yeah, only me and Dan get these.
I was gonna say, like, you got to be fucking like 40 years old to understand these.
They had
jokes.
one album, and I know every song.
This one, my girlfriend doesn't listen to this shit.
My wife as well.
No, she gets it. She just hates it.
Oh, no, she'll get those references.
Mine does,
Anyway,
and she's going to yell at all of you, so let's move it
Probably
along.
true. Yeah.
That's not
She's not
upset
wrong.
Christina.
I often shrivel up when she does that.
Well, you guys are
because I
done-
deserve the abuse.
Okay.
Sorry,
well,
Dan.
If you guys are going to keep dunking on the podcast, we'll never actually get to the 5 liquors that we're going to actually try to think that we're going to eliminate here.
I thought we forgot them.
1! Oh, God. Agent of Chaos.
You forgot them from the past, Moses.
But in the
you know
future,
them
I
now.
remember them.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the future, so you know them now.
All right.
I'm not
you
good with
forgot
time.
Taking control of the situation, because God damn it, if I leave it up to you two, we'll never get anywhere.
Yeah, if you don't take control, I will strangle the closest one to me, who is Moses.
Thank
Oh, God
I'm
damn
over
it.
here.
All right, so
Here we
liquor
came to that.
number 1. Moses, shut up. Liquor number 1, rum. Liquor number 2, whiskey. We also have a vodka, gin, and then finally tequila. So, as we decide which ones we want to wipe from history. I'm going to ask you guys, which one of these would actually top your list in terms of this is guaranteed, it's got to buy, I am not going to touch this one and get rid of it. Justin, kick us off.
Okay, so basically, I mean, those of you out there don't really know me this well, but anybody in this room knows I'm a pretty regular gin drinker. That's kind of my jam. I have eras of drinking. They typically go for years. Sometimes the better part of a decade.
Yeah, it's a big bottle.
And I think that my gin era is, while it is cresting, I think on like year 9 at this point.
You've been at it for a while.
I have. I have. For right now, I'm not going to get rid of whiskey.
Oh, wow, that was a swerve.
Yeah. I'm looking onto the new era.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I will jump in at that point, and I will take what you were about to say about gin and say that I can't touch gin because it's my go-to at this point. And also, what would my dad drink? Because that's what would
You might not even be born.
Yeah, I would not be born if my dad didn't have gin.
It's like a Marty McFly.
I never even thought about that angle. Jesus Christ. Well, I don't know where my dad was at.
Where's $2 Chuck on this list?
But also at the same time, there's a variety of all of these. But in terms of gin, I can pick out, a Hendrix, which is a more expensive one.
Yeah.
Goes very well just with club. So I just want to taste that gin.
Hendrix is a good gin, nice Scottish gin, nice, smooth.
Yeah.
Very good gin.
Oh, that is Scottish. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then also, too, there's lower grade of gin. Like, obviously, the well gin at any bar is going to just have you running for the exits. But, like, even a Beefeater, it's fine.
Fine.
It's decent.
It has its
It
place.
does
It will get you to where you need to go. So, gin for me, this is kind of where I've settled. I've become an old man. So I'm just going to just stick with gin.
In fairness, you were born an old man.
Yes, I was always a curmudgeon.
Well, I mean,
That is the worst argument I've ever heard.
Dan,
I
even
agree
with my argument for my choice being different, I am a gin guy currently.
Yes.
Even as I am, the sun is setting on this era for me. I fully respect that. And that it's a close second to me. But like whiskey is a lifelong backer for me.
So flavorful.
Yeah. I can attack whiskey later.
Yes.
But there was a time where I was really drinking whiskey like all the time, like really trying to appreciate it. And then it cost me, and it cost me dearly. And
We'll get to what cost me in a little bit, I'm sure.
I attack whiskey daily.
Well, I mean, you attack every liquor daily.
Yeah.
You do it ravenously as well.
I have to keep them at bay.
This
I do
is
this for all of
actually
you.
with this question.
No one thanks me for my service.
In this game, I am very curious with your answer because you are how I am with food, a human garbage disposal.
You are.
You are with liquor.
It's true. The one that I would get rid of would be rum. And I'm going to approach it in a pseudo-scientific manner, if you will. Vodka you have to keep around because it's like your plain grain spirit.
It's your plain grain neutral spirit.
You make that into whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm having a day where I'm like, man, I don't want to drink, then I drink vodka.
Just throw some lemonade in there or something.
It's the water of life.
Exactly. You throw cranberry in there, you throw whatever the fuck you want in there, and you've got yourself a delicious, refreshing beverage. You almost don't even know that you're getting drunk.
Yeah.
Right? I can't get rid of whiskey because it's just so delightful and flavorful by itself. It really is just such a unique beverage in and of itself. So you can't get rid of that one. What else do we have on the list here? Gin, kind of the same thing. Gin you can't drink alone. But when you mix
You're not taking shots of gin.
Yeah.
you're not taking shots of gin.
Well, I mean, I've seen that before.
I've done it.
It doesn't end well.
I've done it.
No,
Yeah.
it's not a good shot.
I play the numbers game at the bar where you just pick a number and they go around the bar and pick a random bottle for you. So sometimes I just drink gin. It's not delightful.
It's
not what I want, but
Well, that's the gamble you're taking, playing that game.
absolutely. You got to play the game. Got to play the game to win, brother.
Time to play the game.
I'm glad every episode now has a DX reference. It really soothes my soul.
Bottom line is that as far as gin goes, there's a myriad of drinks that you can't make. You can't get that feeling without that key ingredient. And that's because of the unique things that gin brings to the table. And you can't get rid of tequila because it's just 100%. That is the thing that you drink by itself. Yeah, there's mixed drinks with tequila, but tequila is a drink that's meant to drink alone, and
It's so delicious.
Exactly. If you acquire the taste for it, it's a delightful thing. It's also like a thing that's steeped in like that history.
It is.
You know?
And also, fortunately, has come into an era where it's actually showcased properly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, and I want to talk some shit about Jose Cuervo. But
We will.
We'll get there.
We'll definitely get to a story about me and my brother. They're drinking Jose Cuervo on a stoop.
I thought we were
remember
talking about
these
liquor
stories, yeah.
today. Why are we talking about Jose Cuervo?
But rum, and don't get me wrong, I don't mean to shit on it, but rum is the one that you can get past, and the reason being is that rum is also a drink that makes other drinks. So it's like a vodka. You don't typically drink it by itself unless you're a Ruski or something like that, right? So rum is a drink that's almost always mixed, and it's got a natural sweetness to it.
No, it's cane liquor.
Exactly, yeah. And yet it is not necessary to make that drink. You can make that same drink
With any of
a
these other
vodka,
liquors.
exactly, because it's overshadowed by the sugars that are added to it.
I never
So
really
rum-
thought about that. I've never taken a shot of rum like at a
Right.
bar. Like
Yeah,
I've
you
done
don't take
all
it. It's
the
not a
other
tequila.
like I've never done gin either.
It's
but
not
like,
a tequila, it's not a whiskey, it's not a standalone drink.
Yeah.
So then it falls into the vodka category, and if it falls into that category, then basically you can make that with vodka. You can get a very similar drink out of it. So I think that rum is the one that is replaceable. It's not even about what I like. It's the one that's replaceable.
No, Dan, please.
Well, let me
actually, go
jump
ahead
in
first.
because
Yeah.
you didn't answer the initial question. What would top your list? What's got to buy, not touching it? Like, it's definitely...
All right, yeah.
It's the top
Yeah.
of your list. It's the best one of
I
these
thought I
five.
could navigate around this and you wouldn't remember. Here I am drinking again.
Here I go drinking.
The one that I think that I would feel the worst about getting rid of would be whiskey because I think it's the most unique. The varieties of it, the different flavors, the different ways that you can make it, I think that makes it stand alone.
Yeah.
The only
Irish,
one that would-
Scotch, bourbon, rye.
because there's only really one good gin that I can think of, and it is like Hendrix.
More or less, yeah.
You can make many good things out of that.
I love the Sapphire, too.
But as far the Sapphire's very good as well.
Yeah.
But as far as like the general smorgasbord of it, the only one that would compare would be tequila, where you've got a lot of varieties, and they're all like
Distinct variety.
Yeah, they're good in their own way. To answer the question, which one do I think is the best? I think that tequila and whiskey are both irreplaceable, delightful liquors. And if I personally had to choose one, I would go with whiskey because it keeps you warm when you're cold, and I like cold weather.
Moses, I will ask you the question of what tops your list, but if you know what you want to eliminate, feel free to add that too.
well, to eliminate, I have to go with
Rum?
with rum.
one.
Yeah, I forgot what it
Because
is.
you're a copycat. I get it.
Like rum, I could do without. Like I could also do whiskey to get rid of, but I do like doing shots of whiskey from time to time. So
It always works
I
out
have
so
to
well
keep
for
it.
you, too.
I'm still here. But to top my
For
list,
this particular podcast, you're here.
Which is why Moses can't be killed by conventional means.
every time somebody tries to kill me, I just become immune to that method of murder. But the top of my list, it would be gin or tequila. I'm not sure which one I would like keep because they're both so near and dear to my heart. It was actually you that really got me into the gin, Justin.
Yeah,
Like,
I
didn't
really did
drink
that for a lot
gin.
of people inadvertently.
But I love where I'm at now, and gin is fun and it's delightful because you can mix pretty much anything with it.
I'll say this before the podcast and just in my general life, Moses, when I walk in to this room or the office and I find you drinking liquor, it is it's like there's like a pulse of fear that shoots down my
I
spine.
gotta keep you on your toes. And a lot of that liquor we have at the office is just trash.
It is
I
trash.
kind of want to give it to the guys doing the lawn and shit.
Don't.
just
That's good booze. We need to
Is it
drink
good booze?
You need to stop
They're not
being a
good
baby.
booze.
It's not good booze, but we need to
you
drink it.
just said it was good booze.
It's good booze because it's booze. We need to
all
drink
right, let's stay on task.
Justin.
Yes.
We got your top of the list.
Yes.
And we heard Moses and whatever the fuck your name was.
Archibald Crane.
Jacques.
Was it?
Oh, that's right. It was Jacques. Right.
Yeah, Jacques. Okay.
You don't need to be so condescending.
I will be as condescending as I want to be.
Shut up, you French bitch.
Yeah. Especially, you're French.
Fuck Canada.
I'm from Wisconsin.
I am talking to an American here.
I thought you were going to say hero. I'm like, what did he do?
Recognize. Recognize.
He's an alcoholic.
I do my job.
Thank you for your service.
Dan, I understand it now. It's terrible.
Ties into another podcast that we did. So we heard what they would eliminate.
Yeah.
What would you eliminate?
All right, I'm gonna give a little bit of context here. So, like, once my drinking story started, a little bit before it legally could have, I went through phases.
Yes.
So I distinctly remember, like, first starting to drink, rum was like a big thing. And, like, I guess because it was, like, easy, that shitty clear rum. I don't Bacardi.
Yeah.
Bacardi. For some reason, I guess that was readily available all the time, or just what people liked it sweet.
Yeah.
When
we
you're
were
young, you
growing
don't
up.
know what you're drinking.
Exactly right.
When we were growing up, Bacardi was a big
was a
thing
big
at the
thing.
time. Yeah.
So, like, I would drink rum. I would get even that shitty, because, like, what do you call it? Captain Morgan's, those dark rums, the spiced rum.
Spice rum.
Yeah.
Which isn't technically a thing.
Yeah.
It's just rum that they throw a bunch of coloring and bullshit into.
It's caramel.
Yeah.
I used to drink Sailor Jerry. It's the same
Yes.
basic principle.
Yes.
Oh, right. I forgot
So,
about
like,
Sailor Jerry.
Sailor Jerry, the Kraken,
Yeah.
Captain Morgan, I guess.
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was never like an alcoholic Coke person, but like with rum, I would get like rum and gingers.
Yeah.
Captain and gingers, stuff like that.
I interpreted Coke differently. But
So did I.
Of course you would.
I'm like, I don't usually drink when I'm doing Coke.
But
Coca-Cola.
so
Yeah, of course.
that's
Pepsi.
being
For
young
all
and dumb.
YouTube entities,
And
it's just Coca-Cola.
Also, when you're young and dumb and you don't have a lot of experience, you also don't have a lot of money, so you're getting what you get. So, like, my experience was vodka was like bottom tier pop off
Boomerang.
vodka that we like. Well, Boomerang.
Nothing
has
but
its own-
boomerang for me.
$1.99 a gallon.
My experience.
And just a guy working a fucking tap. He's pumping it.
Yeah, like whiskey was fine. Like I wasn't getting good whiskey. I don't even remember Jameson really even being a thing.
I don't really remember Jameson as a kid.
So like I knew like the sugar bourbons, kind of like your
Like a Knob Creek?
no, that's not that.
Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So like that was my experience with whiskey, which was fine, but like that didn't call to me at the time. I didn't have a developed palate.
It doesn't call to me now.
Yeah,
It's
if you
fucking
have
rough.
a developed palate, you're not
But
drinking
that's
that
what
anyway.
I thought whiskey was.
Yeah.
And like I knew of like Tullamore Dew and
Tully
shit.
is
Like,
good.
yeah.
Irish whiskeys tend to be smooth.
Yeah. So like drinking rum, it's just sugar booze, and it's like I moved on from that. But my experience with tequila back in the day was like Jose, which is garbage.
Yeah,
It's not tequila.
It's not really tequila.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take this moment just to chime in real quick.
Yeah.
It's like it's a cross I'm going to die on. That
It's like a shitty liqueur.
Jose
Yeah.
Cuervo is only 50% agave, which
Right.
means that it is not tequila.
No.
It's 50% tequila mixed with green liquor.
Yeah.
That is bullshit.
And I think
So, like,
that's
if you
why
like
so
it,
many
that's
of us,
fine, but-
when the market wasn't really primed for tequila, at least here,
Yeah.
that's what we knew what, as a dumb kid, you thought tequila was.
Yeah.
So I formed a strong opinion that tequila was shit.
That's how most people are. Same thing people do with gins and so on and so forth.
Until I had like a proper tequila. I'm like, oh, there's nuance. There's like flavor to this.
Good tequila you can sip.
Yeah.
You sip it like a proper beverage.
Yeah, and like I never particularly had a vodka phase, but vodka's neutral spirit to me. It's like that's always going to get a pass.
It's true. I will say that myself, even as seasoned as of a drinker as I am, that vodka is something of a sipper as well.
Yeah, it can be.
can be, yeah.
Once you understand
Quality.
what it should be.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I will say that I don't have a strong sensibility towards
It's not
that.
my favorite.
Yeah, I want the other flavors added in, but what you're getting with a vodka is the purity of
Yeah.
it.
It's drunk.
Yeah.
That's all you're getting with it.
Is that what happens to me?
Well, hopefully with
Is
all
that
of
why I
these
feel
things-
funny and I wake up in your bed the next morning?
That's typically how
This
our
is not
relationship goes.
This is not that podcast. guys. We will get to that one.
All right.
The morning after podcast.
Yes. Oh,
I thought it was called Who's in My Mouth.
All right, so
I was
phases,
gonna call it
rum,
Plan B.
rum needs to die. That's my thing.
You're getting rid of rum.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's the consensus, really. Dan, what are your thoughts?
I hope he
so-
says rum.
I hope he does too.
So let me break this down. I'm not getting rid of gin. Vodka is my go-to when I don't have gin, so I can't get rid of that. I very much still enjoy drinking bourbon. I like bullet bourbon.
I love it.
Yeah, I like mixing it with apple cider, especially as we get to the colder time of
Yeah,
year
that
as
does
we're
sound
in.
delightful.
I mix it with my eggs on a cold morning.
You would.
Oh, what you got to do is poach your eggs in a bourbon. It's
Wow.
very nice.
You are opening my eyes. Why don't you ever do this for me when I wake up?
because I'm usually asleep.
All right, let Dan continue.
Money on the dresser, and that's it.
So, the Ben Affleck and George Clooney of this situation
Wow.
is tequila and rum for me.
Okay.
Those are the two that I'm thinking one of them's got to go.
Yeah.
And you guys are making very persuasive arguments about rum.
I can also like really be devil's advocate and like go into the history of rum and Bourbon Court and funk and all that shit.
It
I'm
is
not-
really cool.
Yeah.
It is a
I
great
agree with
history.
that.
But-
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone here has had these drinks before. And
Yeah.
I've had very expensive tequila before. I
Moses
pay-
doesn't drink,
No,
actually.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're sober?
Yeah, I've been sober.
As you
As you
slowly
miss
sip
your
this PBR.
Oh, this is water.
He's been refilling the cans.
To be fair, compared to what we're drinking, that is water.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, I have had experiences with Jose Cuervo. When my eldest brother got married, the evening ended with my brother and I drinking Jose Cuervo on the steps of his house. And
Why
just
is it
handing
always on
bottle.
the steps?
That's where
It's
you
just-
drink Jose Cuervo. Like, you have to have a stoop
Yeah.
to purchase it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta wait for your fucking welfare check.
Well, you
check your
cash it.
Rolex to see what time it's showing
You
up.
cash it at the same place you buy it.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah, you get your check in the mail, you go to a liquor store, cash it, and
I don't know. I'm Jewish, so the government sends it right to my house.
well, then you would get a Manischewitz.
Yeah.
But
Dan,
And my
continue.
house is a temple.
Oh, baby, you.
like my body, my body is a temple, much like where you worship.
Oh,
So,
wow. I'm gonna need a minute to have a comeback for
Well,
that.
take the minute and let Dan talk.
so I am leaning towards rum.
Right.
Because I've experimented with rum before in the past, especially with the Sailor Jerry, and the results were never good.
Yeah.
Because even with the Jose Cuervo fiasco at my my brother's bachelor party, I was still able to recover the next day. I've had situations when I was young and in the Navy, Sailor Jerry, oh, it's Sailor Jerry, you just sailor,
Right.
drink it. And then I'm sitting there, we're having a fucking party, and then all of a sudden, like, remember back in the day, around 2005, there was that Family Guy movie?
Yes. I recall it being a thing.
Yeah. We threw that on just as background noise. I remember sitting down, I drank a bunch of Sailor Jerry and Cokes, and I saw
It's just so much sugar.
Coke.
I saw 3 Peters. Not 2,
Yeah.
3. And I'm like, I hope the one in the middle is the one that's
I
the
always
one.
run away when I see 3 Peters.
What's up, baby?
I try not to get myself into those predicaments.
Yeah.
The argument that you made, very much so about rum needing that other ingredient to it to kind of bring it together.
Hey, can't make a sunrise without him.
Yeah. That's kind of what
thought you used
persuades
tequila
me
for
to
that.
lean more towards rum. I've taken a shot of, what was it, El Dragino? It's a very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Dragano.
Yeah, Dragano,
Yeah.
yeah.
I took a shot of that. Right around the last time we did a Veterans Day
Yes,
episode a couple
yes.
weeks ago. Right around that time frame, last Veterans Day, I had a shot of that because for whatever reason that was getting passed around at work. And
Of all.
Do we work at the same place?
no, we don't, and I don't suggest that you buy a bottle of that because it's very expensive.
Incredibly expensive.
What is this is a rum?
No,
Or
that's
is
a tequila.
That's a tequila?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would probably rather drink that, even though it's very expensive and I wouldn't want to purchase it myself. But if it's free, it's for me, as we
Right.
established
Yes.
in a previous
Yes,
episode.
yeah.
With all of that in mind, as I'm just speaking out loud and formulating this in my own head, I would actually probably go with the consensus. I would probably go with rum. Because I don't know of a rum that kind of saves the day.
Well, I will
Yeah, there
say,
isn't one.
and I will do, even though I'm still saying rum, I will do a little marker in appreciation of rum. It's
Yeah.
still going off my list.
Yeah.
Rum has a very interesting history and it has a very interesting place. Your captains, your krakens, all that's all garbage. Just sugarcane bullshit.
Yeah, it's mass market bullshit. Yeah.
Basically, if you're going to get a good like Bourbon Court rum or a Jamaican rum, basically what you're looking for is the funk. That kind of like fermenty kind of taste, which is weird, banana-like. But
Yeah.
it's a mixer. The tiki, we'll call it that lane of bartending.
Yeah.
Very dependent on that, on high-proof, funky rums.
Yeah.
And like, it has its place. And I appreciate that. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember drinking a bit of 151 as a kid. And
That's
Well,
just grain spirit.
yeah.
it's hard.
That's
That was
pure grain spirit.
junior prom for me in the limo. A bunch of fucking dumb kids drinking 151 in the back of a limo.
I'll say this. I know of a time that you drank a bunch of rum, Moses.
When was that?
Ooh.
It's something that we already talked about on this podcast, I think. It was
it?
when we were at Lunois.
Yeah.
Well,
And we drank some volcanoes,
That-
which
Yep.
is a cocktail that requires multiple.
that is
different
true.
types
I
of
forgot. I
rum. You can't make that drink without it.
It was a mixed drink of sorts, and that
They're
was,
It wasn't
they're
a
tiki
drink.
drinks. They're tiki drinks. Tiki
Nobody
drinks,
knew how to make
high-proof
it.
rums.
Yeah.
It's
Before we get off this topic, what I want to say too about whiskey, because I was in a whiskey mood for a bit of time.
Yeah.
But it was right around the time of your brother's wedding. Where I was in that mood. I show up and I'm wearing a Navy football.
That was-
long
We talked
sleeve
about
shirt.
this earlier.
Yeah, we talked about that on a different podcast. And I'm like, oh shit, I have to catch up.
Yeah.
And I did catch up. But unfortunately, I was kind of like trying to do the neat whiskey, but they only did it on the rocks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and that makes it more downable. You got to
Right.
water it down.
Right,
so
right.
And also you drink it faster, which also doesn't make sense if you're trying to not get rid of it. Because you're not getting paid by the freaking...
I don't want to get real deep in this, but like certain whiskeys are really benefited for being on the rocks.
Yeah.
It opens it up with dilution.
Yeah, and that's what they, in general, like even when you have really good whiskey sometimes, you will add, like it's appropriate to add water.
Yeah.
so
Even
that
if it's
you
only a
can
couple
enjoy
drops,
it.
it just opens it up.
It does also
And
help,
oftentimes it is just a few drops.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah. But it's not, there's no bitch move about adding water to a whiskey.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I wanted it neat because I wanted to catch up.
Oh,
which
yeah.
also mistake because I did catch up.
Yeah. And then you passed.
And then I and then I just kind of ran off and just into the woods.
Fucking Usain Bolt. And
Yeah. And then
Look at him go.
and then the one time in my 30s where I'm like, how did I get home?
Yeah.
And then and there was
Well,
also
the whiskey brought you home.
yeah, it did, and that's not it wasn't a good drive. It's not like the route you want to take when you're clearly drunk on whiskey.
Well, as the Irish
you have
say,
to explain
Ashgabaha, the water of life.
Yeah.
And then there's also another time because around that time frame too, I don't know if this still exists, but there was a sarsaparilla whiskey. I think it was made by Jim Beam.
That does not surprise me. I don't distinctly remember it, but that doesn't surprise me.
I loved this whiskey because it just tastes just like root beer. Huh. And I used to drink it whenever I could find it. It was rare. It was a rare kind of drink.
Yeah.
And the reason that I don't drink this anymore is I went top of the label to bottom of the label the night before the Army-Navy game with my brother.
Oh, boy.
And I drank...
It's always Army-Navy.
It's always Army... Well, first of all...
Passion is real.
It is.
Well, first of all, sailor drinking comes out in me when it's Army-Navy time.
It's the only thing you learned in the service.
Yeah, it's actually, that is very accurate.
It is,
It's like the...
I wasn't joking.
It was like the equivalent of like climbing like the Alps to study with the monks of drinking.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that.
I woke up so awful. Like the hangover was unbearable. I go to these games with my brother.
Yeah.
He's not in the hotel room anymore, and I'm like, I don't know if he's alive or dead, and it's not even my concern because I am in trouble right now. We went to this game with my one of my younger cousins, and the way he describes it is it was like Jonestown. It was just like bodies all over the place. I shit you not, the walk from the hotel to the stadium in Baltimore, it was fucking cold because the Army-Navy game is the second Saturday of December. Every step that I took to this stadium was agony. This was arguably top 5 hangover in my lifetime. And I did not get right until I was like, can I have a Blue Moon, please?
Yeah, that's a rookie move. You gotta drink.
Yeah.
You gotta drink.
Well, I can't drink at the hotel. I drank all of it.
I do apologize. What was the precipice alcohol of this event?
It was the sarsaparilla whiskey.
Oh, the sarsaparilla
because now there's sugar involved
you
and
get
all
it.
that stuff. So
I will say that sugar in beverages, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
That does give me weird.
It's given me
That'll give you a
feelings
headache.
the most catastrophic in maybe it's not even in the traditional way, but like hangover. It wrecks your gut. It wrecks your head. Just
I get, me personally, when it comes to drinking, and I consider myself a professional, I can do a bottle of whiskey. I can do a bottle of vodka. I can do a bottle of whatever.
Yeah.
I can do 2 bottles of wine, despite the amount of sugar that's in there. Beer, I'm much more limited with. It's like a 6-pack. I can do a 12 if we're feeling real frisky.
Right.
If it's cocktails with sugar in them,
forget about it.
yeah,
Done.
I feel like shitty within no time at all. But
There's
that's
some-
like
I don't know
that's
what
a
it
different
is.
metabolic thing.
I don't
It's
know
not
what the
liquor
science is,
that's
but
fucking
like
you up. Yeah.
something about a lot of sugar content, whether you're drinking like an alcohol alone, a straight liquor, or like a cordial, or a cocktail, there's something about that just does me so fucking dirty.
my
Rise and
understanding-
fall, like that
exactly.
sugar rush, and then it gets you so hyped, and then it just bottoms out.
My understanding of it is exactly like that. That you kind of come up, you're going basically your metabolic process.
It's like a gradual climb.
It gets to the max. You've pumped a lot of sugar into your bloodstream, and then it drops off precipitously, and there's no real recovery because you're wasted. So you're doing nothing to help yourself. And then when it drops off, you're unable to do anything that's appropriate. So it's like that's why I find myself in that boat on rare occasion, because I'm not a huge fan of cocktails of that sort.
Right.
But it's like that where it's like I wake up the next day and it's like, my God, and it takes me a minute to realize like what I did wrong. Because again, I can drink the whole bottle and feel fine the next day. But if it's cocktails, I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? All that I did was drink 3 bottles of whiskey.
There's different types of hangovers, right? So there's like the 2 bottles of red. We all know that hangover. Your head just wants to explode off your shoulders.
Yeah.
That fucking sugar drink hangover is like a full body experience for me.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
That's an ender.
Yeah.
That's a day ender. You can recover from those other hangovers.
Oh, absolutely.
You can open a 12-pack and you're still not regular after drinking that.
No. It's terrible.
You've got to, as far as that goes, my solution when it's the sugar-based thing, I'm blessed. Actually, no, I usually word it the opposite way. I'm cursed with not having hangovers, so that part of it doesn't afflict me.
That sounds so debilitating for you.
It is. I drink so much more than I should. It is insane.
You are a real-life Sterling Archer.
It is terrible. I really should drink a lot less.
It reminds me of that scene where it's like, do you even still get hangovers? It's like, I can't stop drinking because the collective hangover might actually
kill me. It's really like that. But my solution for it is that on that rare occasion that I get a little bit too much sugar in with the booze.
Yeah.
Somebody like slips a little bit like a packet of sugar in there.
Yeah. People are slipping you like pixie sticks and shit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you're this high on the hog, you've got enemies everywhere.
Moses, there's no sugar in pixie sticks.
All right.
You got to get one of those like
now.
fucking, what do they call them? Like a rehydration packet or something?
I live by them.
Yeah, I got one right here.
Yeah, there you go. So we all do it. All right.
Whatever brand you want, they all electrolyte mixes.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to get those salts back in there.
I mean, to be fair, that's technically what that is.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I like. It's like I fucking sometimes drink a bit too much.
Yeah.
And forget that I need to also eat food to go
You
with
need to
that.
eat food.
Right?
You need to hydrate.
Go to sleep,
Yeah.
and I wake up feeling great, like typical, right? And I'm just like doing my day, and like 6 hours go by, and I'm like, well, there is something terribly wrong with my body right now.
That's when the shakes
And I
kick
just
in.
I don't know what it is. And I'm like, maybe I'm dehydrated. I have some water,
Yeah.
I go through all of these motions. And I'm like, no, it's none of these things. I'll even try the alcohol. Maybe it is the shakes. And I'm like, nope, that's not doing anything for me. And then eventually, 12, 16, 50 hours later, I realize that I haven't consumed any actual human food.
Right.
In nearly 2 days. And
It's only drunk desire.
yeah, and then I have myself some salty meats, a little bit of bacon, some like deli meat, something like that, and I'm right back on the hog. It's delightful.
So, when you want to be on the hog, but you're in a place that you're not used to, you have to have a go-to drink. You have to have something this is safe, this is reliable, because I recently found myself in a position where there was no option. There was no home for old Dan. There was no gin to be had. So, I'm going to open this up to you guys. What is your go-to drink? You're in a strange land. Japan, maybe. Or maybe it's just another state. What do you go to
I'll lead
when
off.
you're in that situation? Absolutely. Justin.
So the history, I'm a gin drinker.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah. And like, I do run into that issue.
Yeah.
If you're getting to like a real podunk place or a wedding that's prepared for their guests, I always know there will be some sort of whiskey there.
Yeah.
So I'll just go Nisky Neat.
Which is shocking because I don't think they had whiskey there either.
God damn it.
Did you even go to a wedding?
Yeah, what?
They had vodka?
He was just at home.
No, I have to correct myself. It had a type of whiskey. They had bourbon there. Because I remember I was drinking
it could
bourbon
be,
mixed drink. Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about whiskey that I was alluding to before. Whiskey is a kind of a broad term. They're all of the same family,
Yeah.
but you have Irish whiskey, you have bourbon, you have rye.
They're
you
all
have-
whiskeys, but they're all different.
Yeah, a little bit different. All essentially more or less the same, just with different mash bills, essentially. And like, there's always going to be some sort of whiskey.
Yeah, there has to be.
There has
It's
to
a
be,
staple in this country.
Yeah.
Unless the bar is completely incompetent.
Right.
They're,
And
they're
then
barely
what
a
are we
bar.
doing?
Yeah. Because I will tell you,
This is a little girl's lemonade stand.
Oh,
when I was in
I tell you, I want whiskey.
I say you he did.
when I was in Kerala, North Carolina, it is an area that's not dissimilar to this area, but it's much more in league with like a Seaside Heights, Wild Wildwood, blatantly geared towards tourism.
Yeah.
So this place that I went to, they're like, oh, it's only wine and beer. Well, son of a bitch, I guess I'm drinking beer. Because if I drink wine, I know what that hangover's like.
And you wax all poetically.
I love a wine drunk. I really do.
I like a wine drunk too. I don't like the wine hangover.
Because of the sulfides, right? That's
Yeah.
that's a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
And like it generally affects me more if I'm drinking red, which is my preferred.
Yeah.
See,
wine.
I know that is a thing.
Yeah.
I have not gotten that.
God bless you.
I don't know.
That's remarkable.
I don't know why, though. Or maybe I do get it and I'm too drunk to realize.
You're a fucking freak.
I don't know, yeah.
What I will say, on my side of it, if I'm crushing red wine, which
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah.
that hangover for me is like you distill the headache into the smallest little size of a marble, right smack in the middle of my forehead.
That's
it is
awful.
such an acute pain
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is for
And
everybody
it's
else.
the sulfide thing. Like
Yeah.
I've read about it.
Yeah.
And I know that it is a thing. I don't understand it.
I
That's
usually
all
get
that I'm
those
saying.
headaches in the back
could
of my
be
skull.
sulfides. You could also have reactions to tannins.
Yeah.
Some people have reactions to that.
Yeah.
But like for me, and I love red wine.
Yeah.
But I know if I drink a bottle plus of red wine, it feels like a drill's going into the middle of my forehead the next morning.
That's nuts. Honestly, red wine is like one of my favorite fucking things to drink because I can just drink it continuously, and it's like I'm gonna do myself in if I'm drinking whiskey all fucking night.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So like red wine is something because I'm not a beer drinker, so it's like one of the ways that I can like moderate my drinking and like still hang with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like one of those things. But I can put down like I don't know, it's like 2 bottles is my normal go-to.
Oh, I mean, like bless you. Like I wish I could.
3 is like I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Like I'm royally fucked.
I got turned off of wine. I was drinking a red wine one night. It was the day before we were going to Salem, and that's a long drive.
Yeah.
And I drank 3 bottles of this red wine.
3 bottles is my max.
I
That's
was
the end of the day
pretty
for me.
fucked up. And I wasn't driving. I was with someone else who was driving. And
Thank God.
most of the time,
Just cruising along on 3-4 bottles of wine.
Radar love.
and we were driving, and I was just vomiting red out the next morning, just constantly vomiting red. I brought like a half ounce of weed for this weekend, and I wound up smoking almost all of it just to get
Trying to settle
just
yourself.
to get like normal.
Yeah.
And I mean, it didn't really work. And then I was just depressed the rest of the weekend because I was out of weed.
What a roller coaster your body goes through. I find with red personally, it's that if I drink beer, I'm limited with it. I can only have so much.
Well, it's
'cause
like the physicality of my body can only seem to take.
Yeah,
so much.
exactly. It's
so
very bubbly, exactly.
Now I'm a person. I'm kind of a camel in real life. I don't have to piss that often, but if I'm drinking beer, I'm pissing.
Oh,
every
it's in
fucking
and
10
out of it,
minutes.
yeah. But it's like, with that or with even drinking like liquor, which I'm very attuned to, I get like the drunk hunger where I just like want to eat the greasiest foods and what have you.
Just the worst.
Yeah. With wine, one of the things that I like about it is that I can, when I drink wine, I just drink like the 2 bottles of wine, sometimes a little more. I'm not proud. I'm not trying to gloat. This is obviously not like a proud story.
And then you go out
This
and
is
have a nice
sad story.
You have a nice pheasant dizzin.
Yeah, right. But like, no, I get like while I'm drinking it for some reason, like there's no hunger that goes with it. I don't know if that's because I'm getting the grape juice and that provides you with all the things.
The grape juice will provide.
Yeah, I've said the grape juice will provide. I've
You're
always
full on the
questioned
blood of
this.
Christ.
Yeah, I never thought about the Christianity angle.
It tries to weasel its
Maybe
way in
that
every
is
now
it.
and then.
That's why
Maybe
they
I'm
chose
stinking
wine.
crackers and I don't remember it.
That's the body of Christ, you heathen.
Also known as oyster crackers.
Here, I thought I was Jewish.
Oh, Jesus always gets his way in.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that finagling motherfucker.
He must be a Jew.
Typical.
All right, so let's bring this back. Moses, you're in a strange land. What's your go-to?
Typically, it'll be a gin and tonic, but there was a time that when I was a kid, my grandmother got me onto whiskey sours.
Okay.
And so I would drink
A lot
that.
of questions there. Just
I got wasted at somebody's wedding. I don't know who the fuck it was. It was family, I guess. And she would ask me to go fetch her a whiskey sour. And as a good grandson, I would.
a whiskey sour.
So I would take sips of it. And then, after, the 3rd or 4th one that I got her, she noticed, she watched me taking sips. She's like, if you want one, just go get one. And I'm like, I think I was like maybe 13 at the time.
I thought you were going to say like 5.
No, that was my Zima kick.
Zima. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
That takes me
Just let it go.
right.
Just let it go.
That's fair.
And so I started like when I was allowed to actually buy liquor, like at 16. I think that was the proper age, right?
Sure.
And
I don't know.
I would do whiskey sours a bunch, but then that just started getting into a hassle of hangover headaches. So then I just switched to
They do
vodka,
too much
vodka
sour in
straight.
there, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
like a true alcoholic.
Yeah. Oh no, there's 1 week, and this is why I'm like hesitant with vodka, but I'll still drink it. 1 week, I went to the hospital 3 times.
Wow.
Because of alcohol poisoning.
Wow.
I remember one of these. I woke up on the neighbor's lawn, like a couple houses further. I lived on a dead end street,
Right.
But I was further than where my house was down. Like I was just like, oh, I can't walk in now, and I just passed out on this dude's lawn, and he was not happy. But
Wow.
the ambulance driver woke me up, and as they tend to do.
You know what? Those ambulance drivers really managed to do that for you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, there it is.
Bringing it full circle. I keep forgetting your name.
Jacques Cousteau.
Oswaldo Cobblepot.
Oh,
God,
Jesus Christ.
Now it just keeps changing, so I'm just going to call you Jacques.
You don't need to insult me.
It is like a return to the womb.
I had the headphones on for that one. That was something.
It was sensual.
So you are a black hole of liquors, as we've established in this episode.
I've been told that, yeah.
But you have to have a go-to.
If I had to choose one, I would go with a whiskey old-fashioned. I'm a big believer that, and I will be a bit misogynistic about this. I think that there's
By all means.
There's 2 different ways to approach this angle. As far as I'm concerned, a woman can have whatever drink she so chooses, right? And that's perfectly appropriate.
Sure.
If you're a grown-ass man and you've got a go-to drink, it can't be like a tequila sunrise, because that's kind of a bitch-ass move.
No, I do.
I
Pink
would
squirrels.
be very judgmental.
Yeah.
I would be judgmental, I'll put
Yeah.
it that way. Like, if that is legitimately your favorite drink, then that's fine. But I'm gonna at least, like, try and, comb through that a little bit and see what's actually going on. So for myself, I would have to go with the whiskey old-fashioned. I feel like you need to taste the alcohol in the beverage, that you're having.
Isn't that a bit sweet, though?
Well,
I mean, a little bit.
a traditional
Yeah.
whiskey old-fashioned is not made with simple syrup because that didn't exist at the time.
Yeah.
So it was basically, as far as I understand it anyway, it was basically you had a little bit of lime, a little bit of lemon, maybe some muddled fruit.
Maybe.
And you might put a dash of sugar in.
That's the one with the
Well,
cherry.
that's why it's called an
typically,
old fashioned. It's made in the old fashioned way.
Exactly, yeah. It was a classic cocktail that came out right after the war, which is basically where all American cocktails came from. They all happened right after World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old fashioned is made the old fashioned way before gum syrups and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, I'd like to put Harvey Wallbanger on the list then.
Oh, how dare you?
Yeah, I've had those and I enjoy them. Isn't that like your mother's favorite drink or some shit?
No, that's a rusty nail.
Rusty
That's,
nail. Rusty.
right.
Diane likes a rusty nail.
Drambuie and
My
Scotch.
bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Jeez, you want to talk about black holes of liquor?
Well, she also likes Fireball,
Yeah.
which is not a whiskey.
She sure does. Yeah. No, it is not. No, it is not at all. I've told her that many times.
Nah, she don't give a shit.
She doesn't care.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah. And God bless her. She's right. No one should care what I think.
Yeah.
I like the idea of you saying something in terms of, oh, I had that, I enjoyed it. You like everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll drink all the things.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that the way that I approach alcohol is that you're not drinking it because it necessarily tastes good. You're drinking it for the effect. You don't hear people bitching about the taste of the pills that they take, or something along those
I
lines.
do bitch about that.
You do, but you're a fucking loser.
Sometimes I choose.
I was gonna call you by a worser name. But
A worse
name. Huh?
It is loud and drunk, so.
all right, you fucking faggot.
Wow.
Ah, there it is.
Ding, 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 ding,
There
ding,
it is.
Ah, man, YouTube, here we come.
Goodbye, YouTube.
Goodbye, Spotify. Check us out. Check us out on Rumble. It's the last place you'll be able to find us.
Because nobody listens to that shit.
Forever how long it lasts.
And canceled. I didn't know where I was going with that.
As it happens.
Yeah. So, as we're talking about all this, it reminds me of, because we're talking about our go-to drinks. Before we get to the next segment, I actually should probably say what my go-to is.
Please.
I ran into the situation where I kind of attacked this more like, for those of you out there, I know you hate sports analogies. Maybe you two, like, you don't know what sports are.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, then.
Yeah, that's...
Don't quote Wayne Gretzky.
Dan,
man.
just
Oh, that's
look at-
why- I
just
thought
look
that
at
was
me
Michael
and say it.
Scott.
Just look at me and say it. I'll understand what you're saying at least.
Stop that office nonsense. I only use that stuff for clips.
I like beats.
So,
Shut up.
I do a check down type of thing. Do we have gin?
Right.
Is it decent gin?
Yeah.
All right. If we have that, then that's what I go to. If we don't have gin, vodka. Do you have that? All right, because vodka, it's like it doesn't taste the same thing as gin, but it will serve the same purpose. Like I can get a vodka club, gin club, same basic premise.
I drink gin. Christina drinks vodka. Our drinks always get mixed up.
Yeah,
we end up drinking each other's drinks all the
I've
time.
seen
it's
that.
fine.
It's so, yeah, all the time.
If I can't get that, I kind of like, again, we've established in a previous episode, multiple episodes, I was in the Navy, I kind of still do this whole like summer whites, winter blues type deal.
Right,
so when it's winter, I'm like, I should start drinking whiskey again. So I try to switch over the bourbon. So if we're in the colder months, bourbon will start rearing its head above vodka. So if I can get any kind of like bullet bourbon or anything of that
Warming
quality,
spirits.
I will do that.
Yeah.
If all else fails, what kind of beer do you got?
Ooh.
Because I can drink a couple of beers before it's like, all right, I got to stop because now I'm like, I can't move anymore because I'm like, whatever.
I will jam pack it into like a very neat package. Beer is great. It serves its purpose.
Yeah.
Like if I'm having like a barbecue in the summer, I'll crush any fucking beer you put in my hand. If I'm choosing a beer, I like sours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sours.
I do like
Yeah.
sours a lot. Yeah.
I like that tart type of thing. I can have, if the mood is right, I can have like a heavy beer.
Yeah.
Like I call them dessert beers because they're one and
Like a
done.
stout.
Oh, yeah. Like
a coffee stout.
Your stouts.
Yeah.
What is it? Like Sweet Baby Jesus. It's like
peanut butter.
like peanut butter.
Yeah.
Some of them are real
Definitely.
heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
That I
one
could
is
have
very
one
good.
of. And
Yeah.
But that's not even one and done. That's like a quarter and done for
Yeah.
me.
I tried to drink like 4 of those on Easter
I
a
mean,
few
God
years ago.
bless you,
And I'm
dude.
like, I got through 2 and I'm like, God damn, can I just have a Miller Lite of all things? Just
The burden is real.
Cleanse my palate of all of this heaviness.
And like the truth is, it depends on what I'm looking for. If it's like for hanging out in the backyard, grilling some meats up and throwing some fucking bags, I'll drink any light beer you put in my fucking hand.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
But like if I'm actually going to the liquor store and picking beers, I'm looking for something light and tart.
Yeah. That's where I'm going to go with
Yeah.
this because I used to really appreciate a specific beer.
Yeah.
And if you go on their website, it doesn't fucking exist. It
Oh.
was white.
That beer.
It got Stalin.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't exist anymore. Like
Wiped off the map.
Orange Shandy? What the fuck is that?
We don't
You,
speak
sir.
that name anymore, Dan. You're
you-
going
that
to
never
get
existed.
us.
This is just a Mandela effect.
Yeah. You
Leinenkugel, what have you done?
Yeah, exactly.
I've never heard of it.
And for those of you who don't know, Leinenkugel is like a brewery. I think it's associated now with like Miller Coors or
I
whatever.
believe so.
They're under that same
But it was based out of Milwaukee. It's the thing. Like if you go to the liquor store and you see the summer shandy, that's
Yeah.
Leinenkugel.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows Summer
yeah,
Shandy.
Yeah. And they have a few other beers. They have like the Villanelle Porter, like
Yeah.
around this time frame.
They're fun.
That's
Fine.
all right.
Oh, they have
heavy.
a fireside.
I like their
yeah,
peach one.
And the peach one is the one I can't stand. I've never tried it before, but
I can't stand it.
but I can't.
Suck a dick, Moses.
I don't know. I like it.
I can't stand its presence because
I get
it's,
that because it's,
Well, I want a 6-pack of orange shandy, and it's been
It's the same
eluding me.
color?
It's the same exact color.
Why would you throw that in his face, Moses?
Well,
You can see the wounds.
yeah, I know. I gotta. That's how they get better. It gets better before it gets worse.
Wow.
It works if you work it.
There you are.
This was a beer. The last time I had this beer was actually during COVID. During
That
the
sounds-
lockdown,
that sounds right, yeah.
I was able to like locate it, and that the last time I was actually drinking, it was like, oh, I'll just get hammered and play the Final Fantasy VII
Oh,
remake.
what
I
else
there's
can you
nothing
do?
else to do.
I just real quick, I gotta interrupt you just for you two guys over
Yeah.
there. I imagine Dan finding that orange shandy as being the same as that Dan Crenshaw commercial, where it's like Dan, like he's like homing in on it, and then he's like out of a plane, and he like lands and like busts the concrete open. There's some poor like Indian guy working a liquor store, and he like kills him.
targeting orange shandy Yeah. I have an eye patch for some reason reading.
Yeah. You know that's how it was. We'll never know for sure. But.
Well, I can tell you for sure what was happening. It's like if I found orange shandy, I would just be like, you know what? Do you have a case? Like, oh, no, I'll just take this box. Can you fill this up with 4 6-packs for me?
Yeah.
Because that's not enough.
Yeah.
But it will do for the week.
Yeah.
And it's gone. It's completely gone. And the shame of it to me is that is a beer that could completely be, it's like, I use this terminology, it no longer applies to football because nobody has a fullback anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like the go-to drink that I used to have. It was the thing that was like, if I'm anywhere and I see an orange shandy.
Comfort beer.
That's what
Comfort
I
drink.
want.
Comfort beer.
And
I
it's
get that.
gone. And now I'm like, are you allergic to my money, Leinenkugel? Because I was single-handedly probably raising your stock for a while.
I'd like to. All right.
Ladies, putting my kids through college.
I'm going to jump on your back real quick. Cape May Brewery, where the fuck is the Bay Days? Because that became my love affair. I found that beer. I had a hot 3.5 weeks with it, and now it's gone. From every liquor store.
A fling that you can't reach anymore. The cell phone's been turned off.
It was like the perfect mix between a sour and a cruiser beer for me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I never tried it.
Like,
It sounds
so
like I'd be
fucking
upset, too.
fresh.
Yeah.
It's gone forever.
Yeah. It's a lost love.
I have that with Magic Hat. They had an elderberry.
I
I
remember
think I vaguely remember
Yeah,
that.
it was so delightful, but I can't seem to find it ever. And
Gone.
Yeah, it's
Gone.
just gone. I don't know if they stopped making it, but I didn't know. Like, I was told it was seasonal, but nobody would tell me what season it's supposed to be.
You could probably borrow Dan's private jet and try and hunt it down.
All right.
Well, I gotta talk to Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, yeah.
If he's still talking to me after the segment that we did about
wow.
Hey, he's a petty motherfucker.
I mean, we might be able to make it work.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a little bit of finesse.
No. Probably going to have to pat him with a few beers. You know he's corrupt as fuck.
So you are a black hole of liquor. So I don't even know. Is there like a lost love, a discontinued drink that you just pine for? Like, oh, and that's actually how, like, that's the origin story of how you became this black hole of liquor. Like, you just want to find that one drink.
Just trying to fill that void.
You're just trying to fill that void of liquor that you once loved, but you've been betrayed. You were betrayed by a brewery, a distiller. What was it? Who hurt you?
Dan,
Who
I
hurt
wish
your
that
job?
I wish that I had a good answer. I do. And unfortunately, this is one of those questions that I really can't answer. So you're going to get a bit of a reverse one here. The reality of it is that the reason that I am the way that I am is that I've been looking for the right drink all of this time. And I have yet to find it.
I like the way he licked his lips when he was saying that.
Yeah, there's a sensuality here. There's no love lost. There's no drink that I've ever really missed because I've had them all. I've had them all. I've been to the top of the mountain. I've been in the deepest parts of the valleys, Dan.
Ladies and gents, I'm going to interject real quick. Just so you know, he literally plays a numerology game at the bar to mix liquors together to find.
I've never had one that I didn't like.
You had one.
That's true. Yeah. What was it? Black House and Rumplemans mixed together. It is shockingly bad. Ugh. Painful. But that said, no, there's no liquor that no drink, no alcoholic beverage that stands out in my mind as far as missing it or anything like that. My life is dedicated to finding the one that I would miss. Somewhere out there, I know that drink exists.
They're like Kane from Kung Fu, just roaming the earth, looking for the perfect
And
drink.
until I find it, I roam.
Yeah.
Can I plant the seed of an old story?
Please.
All those, like, I guess damn near the better part of 20 years ago, where we tried to import
Absinthe.
and it didn't particularly work out
It
in
did
our
not
favor.
work out. Goddamn government.
I thought you did that more recently. We were trying to get absinthe.
We tried in like 2004,
No, this was back in the day,
2005, and like it got 95% of the way.
It was like UPS flagged it. or
UPS
some
flagged
shit.
it.
Yeah, like, it's not even your fucking job. Just deliver the fucking package.
Like it got through
It's not your job to
customs.
fucking judge me based on what I'm drinking.
It got through JFK's customs.
Exactly, yeah.
And then some zealous UPS carrier.
yeah, some fucking guy was like, oh, not on my watch.
And now you can get absinthe everywhere. So it's
Yeah,
all
exactly. Yeah, fuck these people.
Oh, that's not so much discontinued as just Somebody had a vendetta against you guys.
Yeah, I suppose so. There's a lot of bitter people out there in the world, man. Sadly.
Also, I think our idea of what absinthe was at the time was a little skewed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you thought it was going to make you hallucinate and shit? That just gets you drunk.
We were kids. Now we can buy real drugs because we're grown-ups.
Yeah.
You can just get them prescribed to you now.
Yeah.
I was getting LSD as a kid before I found out what weed was.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, I can buy wormwood on Amazon and just chew on it if I want to.
So no, there's no drinks that I miss, sadly. But I hope that one day there is.
You know what? I got to give Dan something here. The Tom Collins from back in the day.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, first of all, that was your fault because I remember when back in the day, you actually made a really good Tom Collins.
Yeah.
And I've been chasing that Tom Collins. And I just gave up.
Dan, you'll never catch that dragon.
Yeah, I know.
Are we all just talking about heroin right now? I got a lot of stories about that.
I actually have a pretty funny story about the Tom Collins because that's actually what got me back into drinking gin.
Yeah.
So I was
That's what started my love affair with gin.
I was trying.
Those shitty Tom Collinses.
I was trying to redo that, but I was also trying to make it in a way that there's like no simple syrup, none of this.
Right.
And I'm a terrible mixologist. So
Fair.
So and also I like to travel. I like to go to things. I like to go to concerts and sporting events. I like to drink and do these things because if I'm not drinking and doing these things, then I'm sober and I feel like I might as well just be at a Christian rock concert.
Yeah.
The devil finds work for idle hands.
Yeah. So
Don't go to Creed.
can you take me?
I'm glad you started because I was just about to.
Terrible.
So I travel all the way to Pittsburgh to go to actually, no, it was to see a friend of mine. She listens to this podcast. How you doing?
Hey, that's right, you do.
Shout out.
You're awesome. And shout out to Pittsburgh. I love that city.
I go there to visit her, but also to see a band called My Morning Jacket.
That's a good name.
I'm just thinking of the American Dad.
Oh yeah, that's actually that's why I like that band because like every song there was like, oh, this seems really chill. I'd like to listen to this music, and it took me like several years to actually listen to them, and then I got super into them. I'm tailgating, I'm drinking this. I get blitzed before this show. And like we're in line to go into the venue. I see a girl, they're throwing her out. The concert hasn't started and they're throwing her out and I'm like, I'm that type of like high conscientious kind of drunk.
Yeah.
So fucking like out of sorts, but I realize that I'm out of sorts. I do the like pounding the chest, like this is what we play for. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be that person that's not going to be allowed into the fucking show. I'm getting in. So I do get in. But I drank so much of this it's pretty much just straight gin.
Yeah.
And just like topped off with like
whatever.
various little freaking like mixers.
What you got? Pour it on top.
I drank so much of this. By the time this 2-hour show ended, I'm still drunk. I didn't touch any liquor.
Attaboy.
While I was
Nice.
Attaboy.
And now, like my friend, she left. She went home.
She left you there? Or did you...
No, she was there with another
okay.
person. So she went home, and I'm like, I have to drive to her home drunk.
In a city you don't
know what the highway structure is.
And also, this is Pittsburgh?
It is Pittsburgh.
Oh, hilly as fuck.
Yeah. I made it. Then that's every time I drive through an area where I'm like, not in road shape. We'll call it that.
I'm a quick interstitial. As a person that's driven through Pittsburgh a lot, there's a lot of secret surprise stop signs.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So good on you, Dan.
But also, she doesn't live in Pittsburgh proper. She lives in like one of the more rural areas.
Good for
so
her.
I was going there. So it's it's not a hike, but it's close to being a hike.
Yeah.
Every time I drive through an area like that, because I've driven all through New Jersey where I'm like, you're not in game shape, but let's see how it goes. I'm like, I've conquered this.
What happens. Yeah.
I've conquered this area now.
Right.
Because if I can do this after drinking essentially poison for the entire day, then I'm
in danger.
yeah. That's
So is everybody else on the road.
yeah. I'm also one of those people that when I do actually have to do that, like I don't know what it is. I've been in the situation like you clearly should not be on the road, buddy.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, all right, well, sack up and like pay the fuck attention now because there's times where like you get complacent behind the wheel, and you're just like, oh, I'm driving, listening to my tunes. Oh yeah, ain't talking about
Just
love.
don't get cocky. Don't get cocky.
Don't get
Don't get penisy.
Don't get penisy. The biggest ingredient is focus.
Yeah.
I
And so-
was actually kicked out of a concert. Before, well, I wasn't allowed into it because
So you were that girl.
we were drinking and there was mushrooms involved as well.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to chime in that all of your stories begin with, we were drinking. And that's what the story seems to be about from your lead up. But then like you very casually
But
let
there were
in
also mushrooms,
that we were
or
also doing
heroin.
mushrooms and there was some mescaline involved. And I was high on like fucking,
Well,
I
let
took
me
like
tell
fucking
you.
10 dabs of acid, you know. But
Let
like
me
it was
tell you the
mostly, so
concert.
anyways, we had a little bit to drink.
Let me tell you, we were drinking in the parking lot. I think it was at PNC.
Back in the good old days.
Well, yeah, when you were allowed to drink in the parking lot there.
When fun wasn't
Is that not a thing anymore?
No, some underage kid drank himself to death at an Ozfest.
It was
they
like a
just
year or
stopped
two
it.
after our Ozfest experience.
Oh, that was fun.
But the concert that I was not allowed into was Leonard Skinner. And it's like, how am
thought you were gonna say
how am I
Creed.
too drunk to go see
Leonard
fucking Leonard Skinner?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, who I was with, my buddy's wife, she had her purse and had a 6-pack of Molson in there, and they would pull her out of line and be like, oh, you can't take that in. She would take one out and then get back in line. And she did this 6 times, and then they still let her in. I was just standing there, and they're like, no, you're too drunk. And they took me to this holding area where
yes.
there was somebody else there that was way
We've
too
told
drunk.
the story before.
Oh, have I?
No, not that particular
okay.
story, but another person who was in that holding area.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
no, I asked that, like, I didn't even realize, granted, I was wasted. And I asked this guy, I'm like, what
Did you
are
have
we
Tourette's?
doing? What are we doing here? And he's like, oh, they're arresting us. And we're not cuffed. We're just sitting in a vestibule.
Yeah, they can't cuff you. They're not the police.
So I was just like, and wait, there's nobody here? He's like, no, they'll be here shortly. I'm like, well, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I walked out, and like people were still partying in the parking lot
Yeah.
throughout the whole concert. So I just did that.
Yeah.
It was just like, what
It's
the
the
fuck?
illusion of authority.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
And this guy's still sitting. He's probably still sitting there.
My understanding is like you're only way allowed in with bags now. They have to be clear.
They have to be clear.
like,
yeah, we went to
clear bags.
Alice in
That's
Chains
so
recently.
absurd.
Which is bizarre to me because the last time I went to the Arts Center, because I kind of
I
hate the Arts Center.
PNC part of it. I walked in and I was going to like I'm old and I have shitty hearing because I've been to over 100 rock concerts. So why wouldn't I have shitty hearing?
I'm the old guy that I wear earplugs now when I go to concerts.
But like while I'm grabbing like my my wallet and all that stuff and trying to get ready like to go into the show proper, I drop all of my shit.
Oh shit! Like just straight up
Yeah,
on.
like, just drop like on my I gotta go collect it and
right,
all that
right, right.
stuff. And then I grab my hearing protection and because it's in this nice little like circular like
I'm familiar.
yellow container.
Yeah.
And the lady says, no, that's all right, you can bring that in. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, it's hearing protection. And she's just like, oh, I thought that was weed.
Oh,
and
Jesus fucking
And I was like, I can bring weed? And she's like, yeah, it's legal now. I'm like, yeah, I understand that it's legal now in this state, but like, I'm allowed to bring it in with
not
the
understand
venue?
my conditioning to this?
I can bring it into, like, but I can't bring booze into the venue. No, like, no,
Well, they sell booze there. They ain't selling weed there. Depending on the concert, but
that's a missed opportunity.
it is a really missed
They'll
opportunity.
get there. They'll get there.
That
Yeah,
event.
that's wild. That's fucking wild. And it's like, yeah, because like you're right. Like PNC, I haven't been there in a long time. The last time I was there, it was like a year or two before that incident happened with the young kid that like whatever happened.
Yeah, I don't really know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Like, he just overdrank and his friends didn't look out for him.
Yeah, we went to not everybody here, but myself and our guest and a couple of people. We told part of this story before, so I'll keep it brief. But we went to it was an Ozfest, and it was pouring raining, and we were still at that time allowed to like pregame in the parking lot. People were walking around with coolers full of like Jello shots and shit like that.
Yeah, you were allowed to get fucked up.
That's what you're supposed to do
That's
when
the
you
whole
go to
point.
a concert, when you go to a sporting event. You pregame.
You pregame, you play beer pong, you grill some shit.
You have
fucking-
fun.
Yeah.
It's the point is that you're supposed to have so much fun. You're like, should we even go in?
Yeah.
I've been in those
Yeah,
situations where, like, I do want to see this band,
Yeah.
but I also just want to keep doing whippets.
And he's got a 50 rack over there. So
Yeah, to me, cracking down on that stuff, it screams New Jersey.
it does.
It's
it
like
does.
just over-regulating something that does not need to be over-regulated or regulated at all.
Well-
like, people are going to do what they do.
Yeah, I mean, what a state.
And then I think they tried to, like, over-regulate it to a point where it's just certain bands, so like, or certain acts. So if you're there, that's like, supposed to be like something that's more of a younger act, then they really kind of
crack
you.
down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then if you go there and you guys can snicker and laugh all you want, but if you go there for like the Dave Matthews Band, that's kind of.
What would you say?
I love that. I mean, really what that comes down to is that the government of this state thinks that they have an idea as to which types of music listeners want to do drugs. And like newsflash, asshole, it's all of them. It's everyone who's going to see a band.
I mean, that
wants to
being
do
said,
drugs.
I enjoy the parking lots at like Grateful Dead type shows more than I do any other kind of music, just because.
And all those people are goddamn 50 plus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they know what they're doing.
I mean, that's fair. So what is it? We have to regulate it just because the person is young? Is that the gist of it?
Kids are dumb.
Well, then, but that's how you get rid of dumb people.
You'd think that, but there's still a lot of dumb people.
Well,
because the government is saving them.
There's a lot of dumb people, and they're in government.
Yeah.
I guess you gotta
Amen.
protect your own, yeah.
Oh my God, I drank all that.
What?
Sorry.
But don't be dumb. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Check out our YouTube and Rumble channels. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and that covert spying operation known as TikTok. If you enjoyed this podcast, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at loudanddrunk.locals.com and patreon.com/loudanddrunk. Justin, do you have any closing thoughts?
You're going to make drinking mistakes. You'll learn to drink better, and you'll have a great time. Don't be a sucker and use your brain. There you go.
Moses, closing thoughts.
I can't believe it's over. It's been an hour already. I want to get drunk now. You guys talked me into liquor. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Talk to you into liquor. You're cracking open a PBR.
Yeah, it's water. This is hydration.
Jacques, closing thoughts.
To follow in the same vein of Moses, it is a shame because I just quit yesterday. It's been a delightful time here with everybody, and I hope that everybody stays safe out there. Lovely time.
So, for Justin, Moses, and Jacques, I'm Dan. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, this was Loud and Drunk.
Thank you.
Huh.
Love you.
Woo!
We should do this more often.